not everybody picks one career and then has an entire life doing just one job and one thing. If you clicked on this video because of the title, I hope you find this encouraging and shows you that you don't always necessarily have to pick one job for like some lifetime career. Some people do that, and that's great if that works for them. For others like us, I'm saying us because I'm hoping there are more of us out there watching this video. There are some people like us who have all kinds of ideas, all kinds of interests, and have a hard time just pinning down one thing to go do and make like a giant lifetime career out of it. So I am making this video for those of you, for those of you who may be curious about my career path and how I got to where I am now. Also, I'm making this for anyone who is still trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up, or someone who thinks that they have to pick one thing and do it the rest of their life, or else they're like not normal or flighty or something, which, good news, is not the case. You aren't necessarily flighty or non-committal. Maybe you have a lot of interests. Some of those things can be hobbies, and some things you can get paid for. And you know what? Sometimes you just discover things along the way, jobs and careers that you didn't set out to get an education for, but your personality and your experiences, all of those things can come together and put you in one or many jobs throughout your lifetime that work out great for you, or that provide stepping stones to different interests and different types of jobs throughout your lifetime. So I for sure thought that I was going to go to college and get married, and then that I wouldn't have to worry about a career, which, like, you know, millions of married people have careers. So I just kind of thought, like, oh, I'm just going to get married, and then, you know, you don't have to. I literally was just thinking about marriage. So, if you want to hear how I met my husband, head to my channel after this one and watch the previous video where I talk more about how he and I met and just how long it took me to meet him. Much longer than I thought. My career path was, I went to a Bible college where, again, I was going to learn about the Bible, and then I was going to meet somebody, and then I was going to get married and ride off into the sunset with, have a white picket fence and a million dogs and babies and, the whole, the whole thing. So I went to college and I switched majors multiple times because I just didn't feel super drawn to any one particular major that I picked. So I majored in Bible, and then you would pick a second major. So I did like women's studies, communication, educational ministries. And each time I found that I enjoyed certain aspects of those classes. But when I would talk to the people around me who were graduating with these things, or who were like in these classes with me and like super passionate, I'd be like, I'm not, I don't identify with that. And so I never had this super strong pull that, like, yes, I'm going to finish this major and go on to do this thing, and this is going to be my life's work. Like, I didn't know. I went to college because it was just kind of like, well, this is what you do. So I picked a college that I liked, and that was kind of it. I didn't feel a sense of really strong direction other than I wanted to get married. So I went to college for 3 years, and then I the college was really expensive, so I wanted to like try doing more like state college, would you call it? Public college? Anyway, I was going to go to the college in my home state and just maybe do like general ed. Then I realized, like, financially, it wasn't necessarily they weren't necessarily gonna take all my credits, so I would, anyway, it's a long story. I ended up thinking, you know what, this is just way too confusing. I'm just gonna take a little break until I figure out what do I want to do, and then just go from there. So, like, stop wasting money and just figure life out. I think I called it like a quarter life crisis, even though I was like not 25 yet. So anyways, long story short, I decided to just take a break, I worked at an office supply store, and shout out to those watching maybe who know me from there. And I'm still friends with a lot of the people that I met there. And really, actually, I worked there for like 3 years, I think, and actually really loved it. It was great. Maybe I can do another video about that type of work. But I worked at office supply store. I worked at a restaurant. I worked at a very short stint in a photography studio. So, anyways, I did all kinds of things, and then I ended up very long. It would take a long time to explain how I decided to go back to the college that I had started in, and to sorry, I'm just stepping around things here on the porch. So I won't go into all the details, but I ended up deciding, like, okay, I will go back to the college that I started in. I will graduate in the major that I started in, and then just go from there. So after maybe, I think it was like a 3-year break from college, then I went back and I graduated and moved in with some roommates and just got, where did I work? That one was, I think I worked at like the smoothie shop and a bank. Yes. So that was interesting. It would take a long time to explain why I went to and left those jobs, but I just kind of needed to pay rent, and I still had no clue what I wanted to do for like this lifelong career. Cause see, I still was in this mindset that was like, you have to pick one thing, and then you have to figure out the magic formula of who you're going to be. What are you going to do for your life's career? Because when you're a kid, people always ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, it has to be just one thing. So I kind of was still in that mindset, like, well, I really wanted to just get married, and that's not happening. So what do you do? So I was just paying the bills with working at the smoothie shop, and then working at the bank, and then leaving the bank to go to the smoothie shop. So things were hard. It's a long story. Life was clearly not going the way I wanted it to, not the way at all that I had planned. I was feeling very lost, very confused, and bitter. Maybe I should make a movie. Make a movie. Yeah, I'm gonna make a movie about bitterness. I should make a video. I will make a video about bitterness. Maybe that could be my next one. We'll see. I got into a very bitter state of mind, and felt like things were not working out. I had made plans to go live closer to a friend in like the Midwest and do a job there, and then that fell through. So then my sister was talking to me on the phone and said, like, hey, we have a really great community down here, and maybe you could find something to do down here. So I didn't feel that I had anything holding me where I was living at the time, and I prayed about it, and I didn't, again, I prayed about it, and I didn't sense that there wasn't any reason why I shouldn't do that. To kind of just, yeah, let's see how that goes. So I ended up moving to California, and I first lived in a place where I was volunteering, that provided, well, I was living with my sister and her family, and then I moved into a volunteer position in a women's, I don't know what you call it, a women's home, kind of, I guess, but it was a place, it was a women's shelter, and so you would get free room and board for volunteering your time there to help out at the women's shelter. So then I was approached after a couple of months by some people at church, lovely people. If you're watching, you know who you are. They offered me a place to live in their home, that where I could have cheaper rent compared to the going rate if I exchanged tutoring and babysitting for part of my rent, which was like, cool, yes. So I moved in there, and that's what I did. Then people at my church wanted to start a school, so we met in the basement of someone's house, and it was me, because I was available and still didn't know what I was going to like do with my life, so I was very free. Had a lot of availability, so they asked me to help. Well, no, so they weren't going to start the school yet. It was homeschool families who wanted me to help their children complete their homework assignments and do it in a group setting. So I did that for a year. And then through that, everyone kind of was like, why don't we turn this into a school? And so I got to transform into a teacher, which is cool because I was there for 7 years, and it ended up most of that time I taught first grade, which, super fun fact, as I was in that teaching season of my life, I was going through papers back home, at my parents' house, and on a visit home, and I found a little paper from when I was really little, and it was from Sunday school or something, and it said, fill in the blank. When I grew up, I wrote first grade teacher. How amazing is that? I had completely forgotten. I knew, like, somewhere in like high school, early college, I think I talked about being a teacher, but I never was like first grade. I completely forgot that childhood moment. Anyways, so very cool. For a season of my life, I got to be a first grade teacher, taught different grades at the beginning. So I stayed there doing that for 7 years. And then I met my husband online and ended up moving. We're out here in Connecticut now. So I left teaching and I came out here. I did some tutoring, babysitting, different things for different people, because I always had experience working with kids, even from very young ages, like babysitting and things like that. So I can work with kids. So I've done like tutoring, babysitting, and then our financial needs changed. Um, Boy, what was it? A year, 2 years ago, maybe. I had to end up looking for a full-time job because before I was doing just maybe like definitely not full-time work for anybody. So I needed to look for full-time work. Right. A few years before that happened, while I was doing babysitting and tutoring, I decided to start an online business. So I'll put links to everything down there. And there's also a video about why that business failed, even though I don't really think it did fail. But you'll see. You can check out my video on that where I talk about failed business or having to pivot. So you can go back and check out those videos. But I started an online business and it never got to the place where we could just depend on it. It was more like hobby income, and it never recovered from 2020 stuff. So all that to say, that happened, and then our budget needs changed. So then I ended up needing to get full-time work. I looked for a long, long time. I ended up at a daycare, and then I ended up finding, I was there for, I think, 4 months, and then I ended up finding the place where I am now as of this recording. And I found an amazing family to do nanny childcare for, and it's been incredible. Like, amazing, amazing fit between me and the family. And the reason I'm telling you this long journey that's like, is because for those of you who feel like you're still figuring out what you want to be when you grow up, you just never know how your path is going to go. I don't regret working at the office supply store. I don't regret going to the college that I did when I did. I don't regret the babysitting opportunities that I had. There were some beautiful moments that I got interacting with people at the daycare that I worked at most recently. I wouldn't really trade any of those things because all those things just, here's the thing, I don't even want to say all those things led me to the path I'm at now. It really just, all those things were points along my journey. That whole thing has been my journey. And I've just never felt the need to like pick that one thing and just do it my whole life, you know? Just, I want this to be encouraging for any of you who feel like maybe you're interested in multiple things and people keep saying like, just pick one thing. And you're like, I can't pick a thing. And you just feel overwhelmed and stressed like you have to pick this one amazing career. It's okay to just dip your toe in some things and figure it out by experience. I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if you're neglecting responsibilities, like, that's not good. So get that sorted out. If you're not neglecting any responsibilities, and these are healthy job situations, then I don't see why you can't try out different jobs and work at this thing for a while, and then work at this thing for a while, then try a brand new thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I hope this is encouraging, and I hope that there's nothing I'm missing. If you have any questions or experiences with this or encouragement that you want to leave for others, please put it down in the comments below, because you never know who could come across your comments of your experience and that they could feel encouraged by reading what you have to say. So let me know your thoughts on this whole topic. And did you know when you were a little kid, did you know what you were going to be when you grew up, and did it work out exactly how you thought it was going to? I'm super curious. So thank you for watching. Feel free to check out all the things down below in the description of this video, and I will see you next time.